Aquastar is another one of these brands that have a long history of supplying proper dive instruments for so-called professional divers. Founded in 1962, they were only available in dive equipment stores, and it took more than a decade for them to reach retail customers. They've always been on my radar, but I was reminded once again when reading Jason Heaton's novel Depth Charge, where the protagonist relies on his trusty Aquastar Deepstar. Today I have the Model 60, which is properly vintage feeling with its bulbous sapphire crystal and measurements that, by today's standards, are on the smaller side. But as per usual, on paper is different to in practice, and standard length lugs means this one wears pretty well. It's also a bit of a looker despite not being the most sought after model. A huge thank you to Russell for lending me this one for review. It's absolute reflection city with this crystal, so let's get cracking and bring this into the studio to have a proper look. This model can be purchased with a Beads of Rice bracelet with fitted end links, a Tropic strap, or this NATO strap, which is what the original owner elected to do. I'm not a huge fan of NATOs, but they photograph well. The problem is that a lug width of 19mm means you're stuck with your choice, since you'll likely not have many of those straps lying around. So the measurements. It is 37mm in diameter and 47.2mm lug to lug. It's 12.5mm thick including the crystal, and water resistance is 200 meters. The weight is a slight 83 gram. Getting closer to the dial, this is the most plain model on offer from Aquastar, and without that lovely logo, you could be looking at almost any watch modeled after a vintage piece. The quality on offer though is excellent, with the printed logo being super sharp against this glossy black background, as is the printed details at just above the 6. These indices are all printed and made to look like faded, so the old faux vintage effect. It is quite attractive though, and I like it, but of course for many it's a no-no. The date complication is not color matched, which means that A, it sticks out and is quite legible, and B, it sticks out and breaks up the small dial symmetry. Each to their own here. The bezel is bidirectional, which I can only assume is a nod to the very early dive bezels, which were like this, which means you could in theory bump it and be under the impression you've spent less time underwater than what you actually have, but in practice it's nice to play with on the couch. It's a ceramic bearing under there and it feels okay, but not amazing. The all metal look is great though, but of course it will scratch, but that's fine I think. The crystal is lovely, but loads of reflections is unavoidable. The H-shaped case is all matte like a proper tool watch, and the large and easy to grip crown is really good and signed with the star from the logo, which by the way looks very similar to the one Mido uses. But I guess all sea stars look more or less the same. A large and attractive logo once again covers the back, and unfortunately we do not get a look at the La Joux movement with its tungsten rotor and 68-hour power reserve. They are actually quite nice and worth checking out on my recent Sealos review if you want to see what it looks like. This is not a cheap movement and goes some way to explaining the asking price I think. The strap is well made, a quality NATO, that has a signed buckle, and that's about all you can say about it. You're either into these or you're not. I think personally that they are a sometimes wear, much like McDonald's is a sometimes eat, i.e. once or twice a year. Again, the lug width means you have few options here, but of course a bit of research and you'll soon find some online. The Lume is old light radium superluminova and it's pretty good overall. Buy one of these from Aquastar directly and you're up for $1,590 full price. And whilst I really like this attractive little watch, I would probably stretch and find another $500 for the Deepstar 2, which is properly unique. But chances are you could pick this one up secondhand for a lot less than the new asking price. And if you're all of a sudden looking at closer to $800 to say $1,000, then it could be a bit more tempting. What do you think? Would you buy one? And would you get this one or look at one of the other models? Let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you next time.